21 seasons, 6 constructors' crowns, 8 drivers' titles, and more sound bites than any other boss on the grid gone in one lunchtime phone call. On 9 July 2025, Salzburg HQ informed Christian Horner that his 2-decade reign at Red Bull Racing was over, effective immediately. Minutes later, a second press note named Frenchman Laurent Mekies, poached from Red Bull's sister squad Racing Bulls, as the new team principal. What could push a globally bankable face off stage mid-season? A perfect storm, leaked Sexts, a Verstappen family power play, walkouts by Adrian Newey and Jonathan Wheatley, and a 188-point deficit that's draining millions in prize money. Strap in. We'll sprint through 8 rapid-fire chapters, each with a fresh twist, before landing on what's next for both Red Bull and the most quotable boss Netflix ever filmed. Christian Horner arrived in 2005 as the youngest team principal in F1 history and turned a fizzy drink branding exercise into a hardware factory. From Vettel's 4-peat to Verstappen's historic 4-time streak, Horner's stewardship filled the colossal trophy wall that greets anyone entering Milton Keynes HQ. Off track, he became Drive to Survive's headline act, sharp suits, cheeky digs at Toto Wolff, and a high-profile marriage to Spice Girl Jerry Halliwell that elevated F1 tabloid traffic overnight. Sponsors loved the swagger. Sky Sports loved the soundbites. Rivals both admired and loathed his winning machinery. For nearly 2 decades, the formula looked bulletproof, but the seeds of collapse were already germinating. Shortly after the 2024 summer break, Red Bull's RB20 stopped being a magic carpet and started chewing its tires. Fast forward 12 months and the numbers are brutal. 172 constructor points, good enough for 4th behind McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes, and only 13 clear of 5th place Williams. In the last 4 Grand Prix, Sauber outscored Red Bull despite spending roughly 1/3 of its budget. Worse, Max Verstappen has banked 165 of those 172 points. Without him, the team would trail Alpine. When a global mega brand is losing $25 million in prize money projection, the boardroom thermostat shifts from cool to volcanic. But poor lap times alone don't decapitate a dynasty. Scandal does. February 2024, an internal probe clears Horner of inappropriate messages sent to a female employee. Red Bull breeze, press dies down until 24 hours later. An anonymous email blast drops hundreds of alleged WhatsApp threads into every major F1 reporter's inbox. The screenshots flood Reddit, forcing corporate partners to issue reviewing the situation statements as hashtags trend worldwide. Horner chooses public defiance. He sneaks out a side gate, collects Jerry, then returns arm in arm for a photogenic united front entrance. Internally, mechanics call it the walk of deafness, a moment they felt leadership prioritized optics over morale. Sponsorship directors call Salzburg. Share price jitters follow. Cue the only Paddock politician noisier than Horner himself. Most F1 dads fade when their sons turn pro. Jos Verstappen found a new gear. As Max single-handedly kept Red Bull afloat, Jos reportedly pressed CEO Oliver Mintzlaff for structural change, arguing his son's title chances, and therefore Red Bull's marketing bonanza, were sinking under managerial drag. At Silverstone, Paddock cameras caught Mintzlaff, Jos, and Horner in a tense 3-way huddle. Insiders say the Dutchman labeled the RB21 a cart with branding. Consider the leverage, remove Max's 165 points, and the team plummets to 10th, 5 behind Alpine. Few boards ignore math that stark. Meanwhile, Red Bull's brain trust began hemorrhaging pedigree. Engineer Adrian Newey, the aerodynamic oracle behind every Red Bull championship, quits in April 2024, citing fresh challenges and surfacing at Aston Martin. He was godfather to Horner's daughter. The split signals deeper fractures. Sporting director Jonathan Wheatley, widely tipped as caretaker if Horner resigned, bolts to Sauber after the misconduct probe exonerates Christian but guarantees his seat. In July 2025, Wheatley celebrated Sauber's first podium at Silverstone, while Red Bull pack up a P5 and a DNF. Talent exodus is expensive. Replacing genius is harder than replacing carbon fiber. With pillars gone and Jos growling, Salzburg finally flexed its majority vote. Red Bull GmbH owns 51% of the race team. Thais shareholders hold 49%. During Horner's scandal, the Thais reportedly shielded him, but results of fatigue eroded that buffer. Last weekend, Mintzlaff convened an emergency call. By Tuesday noon, Horner was out and longtime comms chief Paul Smith resigned in tears, according to Paddock witnesses. The official release thanked Horner for, quote, 2 decades of success and offered no further comment. Classic NDA smoke. 42 minutes later, another email stamped Laurent Mekies as CEO and team principal, effective immediately. So who exactly is the Frenchman inheriting this flaming throne? Mekies, 48, cut his teeth at Arrows, Minardi, Toro Rosso, then became the FIA's safety director before Ferrari poached him as race director. By 2024, he headed the rebranded Racing Bulls, stabilizing the junior team amid budget caps. Colleagues describe him as ice against Horner's fire. Analytical, multilingual, press-averse. He brings ex-Alpine guru Alan Permane as Racing Bull's new boss, cementing a double shuffle. Mekies inherits a fractured design office, a star driver re-evaluating loyalty clauses, and a stopwatch that shows Red Bull trailing McLaren by 188 points. First tasks: stop staff bleeding, soothe sponsors, and convince Max this ship isn't sinking. Meanwhile, the sport wonders where its favorite antagonist will resurface. Audi Sauber enters in 2026 with a clean slate and German budget. Insiders whisper Horner has already dined with Ingolstadt executives. Mercedes could dangle an advisory role if Toto Wolff steps back. Broadcasters drool. Drive to Survive lost its A-list protagonist. Yet the Brit might relish a sabbatical. He skipped childbirth for race dates, attended 419 consecutive Grands Prix, and thrived on permanent jet lag. Whether he returns in a rival garage or a studio, his absence leaves a charisma void. Toto now becomes the grid's elder statesman. At 12 years, no other principal even cracks 3. Trophy walls memorialize history, not immunity. In 24 months, Red Bull slid from near invincible to 4th, lost its design genius, alienated its sporting director, and watched scandal erode shareholder patience. Salzburg finally did what lap time sheets had been foreshadowing. They fired the architect of their empire. Laurent Mekies must now reboot morale, upgrade an understeering chassis, and keep Verstappen from activating rumored exit clauses. Meanwhile, Horner exits stage right, carrying both controversies and a resume any rival would envy. So, grid gurus, place your bets in the comments. Does Red Bull rebound under Mekies or face a multi-year rebuild? And where does Christian land? Audi pit wall, Sky commentary box, or tropical island with zero Wi-Fi? Smash the like, hammer subscribe, and ring that bell. Our next drop dissects Verstappen's contract clause and how Horner's sacking might trigger an epic silly season chain reaction. Because in Formula One, dynasties don't end, they evolve at 320 kilometers an hour, and the only constant is the checkered flag.